The Price of Tomorrow, Part 4. The Final Goodbye. The evening breeze swept gently through the tiny cracks in their worn-out wooden door, carrying with it the faint scent of rain. The small, dimly lit room where Daniel and his mother lived was silent, almost too silent. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like it knows a secret that you are not ready to hear. For most people, this was just another evening. A regular sunset painting the horizon with shades of orange, pink, and gold. But for Daniel and his mother, this was not just another day. This was the beginning of the end, a truth his mother had carried in her fragile heart for weeks. She sat quietly in the corner, her thin arms wrapped around her knees, staring at the floor. Her breaths were shallow, uneven, and each cough shook her entire frame. She pressed her lips together, hiding the pain from Daniel, who was busy in the other room humming a tune he had learned during the school trip. Yes, the school trip, the one he begged her to let him attend. The one she made possible by selling the last thing she treasured, her wedding ring. The symbol of love and memories she had once shared with Daniel's father, who had left long ago. She had given it all away for one reason: Daniel's smile. Her eyes moved slowly toward him as he came running to her, his face glowing with excitement. "Mama, do you know what I saw on the trip? Big mountains, rivers like in the books, and a train. A rail train." His voice was full of life. She smiled, even as her chest burned with every breath. "Really, my son? A train? That sounds wonderful." Her voice was weak, barely above a whisper, but her eyes, her eyes, were shining with pride and love. Daniel continued talking, waving his small hands as he explained every detail. She listened, memorizing every sound of his laughter, every sparkle in his eyes. Because deep inside, she feared she might never see that sparkle again. That night, after he had eaten the last piece of bread they could afford, she tucked him into bed. She brushed his hair gently with trembling fingers and whispered, "Sleep well, my little lion. Mama is proud of you." "Good night, Mama," he said, hugging her. She held him tighter than usual. Longer, because she didn't want to let go. When Daniel fell asleep, she sat by his bed for hours, tears streaming down her cheeks silently. She wanted to scream, to cry out loud, but she didn't. She didn't want to wake him. Instead, she began to write a note on a torn piece of paper. Her hands shook so badly that the letters were barely readable. "Daniel, my tomorrow was always you. Be strong. Live the life I dreamed for you. And never forget, Mama loves you." By the time the first light of dawn touched the earth, she could barely move. Her body was shutting down. Hunger, sickness, and exhaustion had taken everything from her. But her love remained stronger than death. When Daniel woke up that morning, he noticed something unusual. The smell of tea wasn't there. The sound of her soft humming wasn't there. The house was too quiet. "Mama?" he called. No answer. He walked to the small living room and saw her sitting on the floor, her head resting against the wall. Her eyes were closed. For a second, he thought she was asleep. "Mama?" he said again, walking closer. He touched her hand. Cold. "Mama," his voice cracked. He shook her, screamed her name, begged her to wake up. His tiny hands slapped her cheeks, tears pouring down his face. No, please, Mama. Please wake up. You promised you'd never leave me." But she didn't move. Her chest didn't rise. Her smile, the one that always made everything okay, was frozen forever. Daniel collapsed next to her, holding her lifeless body and crying until his voice broke. Then he saw the note on the table. He picked it up with trembling hands. The words blurred as his tears fell on the paper. "My tomorrow was always you." He pressed the note against his chest and screamed, a scream so full of pain it could break the heavens. That day, Daniel became an orphan. But he also became the keeper of a promise, to live the life she dreamed for him. Years later, Daniel stood on a big stage, holding a diploma in one hand and that same note in the other. Cameras flashed, people cheered, but inside, he was still that little boy who once held his mother's cold hand. His speech began with a trembling voice. "This is for you, Mom. every dream I chase, every victory I achieve. It's your tomorrow living through me." The crowd stood in applause, but Daniel's heart was somewhere else, at a small grave with wildflowers growing on it. The final words of his speech were the same words written in shaky handwriting on an old piece of paper. "My tomorrow was always you." The price of tomorrow was not measured in money. It was measured in a mother's love, in sacrifices no one saw, and in a goodbye that came too soon.